Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Camel with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market preparation video for September 26th, 2018. So today's the big day. Today we hear from the FOMC, and we will get an interest rate decision, plus we will also get a forecast on how they view rate increases or decreases into the future. Obviously, that is a big unknown for the market. The market hates unknown things, and consequently, we have some price action in the markets that really indicate that. Now, yesterday we had futures pushing for an upside gap in the morning, and I suggested to everyone to be really careful of that morning gap up, that it could produce a pop and drop pattern. Well, that's exactly what happened in the Dow, and that did affect the other indexes for a good portion of the day as we saw some of those things selling off. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong here with any of the indexes. They're all very bullish. We're all in trending patterns, and as you can see, there's nothing here that would really suggest any bearishness at all in the market. So we have these nice bullish trends going on. The one thing that is a little bit of a pause or a little bit of concern here in the diamonds is that we have dropped back below that all-time high breakout. So holding on to that trend, that's a good thing. And as we pull back, which really isn't all that atypical, we get a big strong move, we get a pullback. And as you can see, this little gap right here that we had in the market, we've come really close to filling that gap. Very close to filling that gap. So any rest or consolidation in here would not be atypical. And ahead of a FOMC announcement, we can probably expect some pretty light and choppy price action. Now, this morning we have very much the same setup we had yesterday, just not quite as pronounced. We have futures pushing for a gap up open. I would be really careful of chasing into that gap up open. Remember, there's a high probability of some really wild price action this afternoon. And if you load up on trades this morning, you may regret that this afternoon. So be careful. Now, me personally, I'm kind of going into this FOMC announcement really light in my account. I've been cleaning up a lot of positions. I've taken a lot of profits toward the end of last week on this nice rally, and also the first part of this week. And I'm going into this FOMC announcement rather light, just because we are at a very, high condition here in the market where we're pushing all-time highs of the market, and we're kind of ignoring tariffs. We're kind of ignoring interest rate increases. Now, that's okay. That doesn't mean that we're going to fall. It means that I'm choosing to be a little bit cautious going into this. And I don't like to give up my edge. One of the things as a swing trader, as a technical analyst, what we do is we try to improve our edge as a trader with the price action, the known quantities, the support, resistance, and trends, and things that are going on. Well, when we have such a big unknown quantity coming at us, it's one of those things where I kind of prefer to stand aside and let that happen, and then I re-engage when my edge returns in the market. See, one of the things I try to avoid is gambling, and there's no point in gambling. If I wanted to gamble, I would go to Las Vegas, where at least they would bring me drinks while I'm watching my money disappear. In the market, I have the choice. I can wait for the better signals. I don't have to wager or gamble on big unknown events where it just typically damages a person's account. So I'm going to stand largely aside until this event occurs, and then I'll be watching for those entry signals as the price action develops. That's my choice. I would be really careful, as most swing traders. This will be a very challenging day, If you add risk this morning, this could be a very challenging day. It could be a winning day if you happen to choose right. It could be a really ugly day if you happen to choose wrong. So decide how you want to face that today. I choose not to gamble. I choose to wait until my edge returns in the market. So right now here in the Dow, we're looking pretty good. We're holding that trend. Again, we failed, dropped back below this all-time high, but that's okay because we're holding on to trend and we have filled that gap. If we take a look at the SPY largely just set it out yesterday. Real light, choppy price action, just a lot of rest. If I were looking for an entry today, I would require that the SPY pop above this level. That's our resistance point right now. We're holding our uptrend. We're holding above key levels of support, and that's a good thing here in the SPY, but we're just resting. So I need to see some proof that we're going to move higher. And you can see this morning we're getting that gap up again here this morning. Gap up in the SPY. Right into a resistance point, so I would be really careful chasing that. But if we were to break through here, maybe later today, after the report, and we're showing strength in the market, that certainly could be a setup for a long trade. But I'm not going to chase it this morning, I can tell you that. Let's take a look at the Qs. Now the Qs went the other direction yesterday. The SPY and the diamonds were lower, and the Qs went the other direction, and they're indicating also this morning a gap up here at the open. And once again, I would be careful, and I want to point out the fact that we're gapping up right into this resistance area where we rejected, just last week, rejected that level. So gapping up this morning doesn't necessarily mean that it will fail here. In fact, the Qs have been holding up strong, and they are holding above this key support level, which is that all-time high breakout. But I would watch this really closely as we move back up toward that resistance level, particularly with all of the news pending. Might be a little bit careful and cautious about that this morning. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM, a little bit challenged here yesterday. It just really went sideways. Here again is that key level of support. This is that all-time high breakout point where we broke out earlier there in August. And we've been trying to consolidate that and hold that level since. And we're also holding above this uptrend, which is a good sign. But we're not really moving around much at all here. Yesterday was really, really light and choppy. And you can see this morning it looks like we're going to open about the same place. So not much change here. Let's take a look at the VIX here real quick. The old VIX gave us a little bit of, well, indecision yesterday because we had the diamonds going down, we had the Qs going up, just a little bit of indecision here, a little bit of back and forth in the VIX, and you can see the VIX giving us a little bit of a hammer pattern here right off of this price support. So we'll want to watch that. We have to be careful. If fear does start creeping in, we'll rally up off of that. But so far, there's really nothing here that would suggest that fear's out of control in any way, shape, or form, or that it's really growing heavily. So no major concern here, but we do want to keep an eye on that if we bounce up off of this support, if some fear does happen to creep in. Let's take a look at T21, 22. That 4-week new high, new low ratio. I get more questions about this indicator than just about anything else. Now, please keep in mind, there's nothing fancy about T21, 22. They take the 4-week, all the stocks making 4-week new highs and those making 4-week new lows, and they create a ratio. And that ratio is plotted here. Now, I plot it as just a simple line chart. And these zones down here, as you can see, these are, when we dip clear down into here, we've dipped down into bullish reversal zones. That's where we've sold off and we've gotten a little bit carried away in the sell-off, and then we tend to bounce up out of that area. That's all this is. Also to the upside, bearish reversal zone is that area where we've bounced up here really high, we've moved up strongly, and we tend to kind of overextend, and then we sell off from those areas. So nothing fancy here, no big indicator that tells us every day what's going to happen, but it does give us some clues to the possibilities that could occur. Now you can see T2122, we're down here in that 30 range, which means nothing more than we still have sufficient room to move to the downside, and we have plenty of room to move to the upside. So we've got lots of things that could happen here. There's no real decision-making point here on this, just that we have the possibility of going either direction, and we should recognize that as we plan our day forward. Let's take a quick look at okay, so here on the economic calendar, you can see we have several things this morning that could move us around. We have new home sales here at 10 o'clock a.m. That's an important number. And those new home sales are expected to show maybe just a tiny little increase and stay pretty much flat to last month. We have the petroleum status report. This is not forecast forward, but as you know, big surprises in oil supply numbers can certainly move the market around. So we have to watch that carefully in case there's some kind of a surprise build or decline in supplies. And then, of course, the big news of the day, FOMC and the FOMC forecast at 2 o'clock and the Fed chair conference at 2:30. So watch for lots of volatility to occur after that news report today. Let's take a look on the earnings calendar. We only have about 10 companies reporting earnings today, none of which are really all that noteworthy. However, this afternoon, probably the most noteworthy would be Bed Bath & Beyond reporting after the bell today. So kind of keep that in mind. A few earnings reports to be prepared for. So with that, everyone, hey, I want to wish you all a fantastic day. I want to wish you great profits. And if this is the first time you've seen these videos, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button on YouTube, follow me button on Facebook, click those thumbs up buttons and drop a comment. And always feel free to share this video with any friends and family. Everyone, have an awesome day. I wish you great success. Be smart, trade wisely, and never ever give up on yourself. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.